Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hilltop Sports Report podcast. This is episode 44 of the show, and this is our Athletics Year Recap episode along with the one and only Jeff Meeker. I'm Jumpin' Jack Carlson, your host. Let's hit the music and start the show on this final episode of the Athletics Year.
Let's go Rams! Let's go Rams!
So as I mentioned in my intro, head coach of the volleyball program and director of athletics here on the Hilltop, Jeff Meeker is my very special guest on this episode. First of all, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time today.
You bet. Happy to be here, Jack. As always, spending time with you is a pleasure.
Absolutely. So this is the third consecutive year that we have done an athletics year recap, and I think it puts a bow on what has been a fantastic 2024-2025 year of athletics competition here in Mount Vernon, Iowa. So I was wondering if you could, for starters, Coach, just kind of give us some of the themes of the year and what you've seen transpire since we first got here in August all the way now until the start of May.
Yeah, thanks for opening with that, Jack. So our three themes this year, we've done this the last 2 years. So we've created themes that help guide us as coaches, help guide us as individual programs to make sure we're keeping college athletics in the right focus. It's easy to get caught up in the wins and losses, and I think really important to remember why we're here doing what we're doing, both as professionals, coaching staff members, but also our student athletes. So the first is we can do hard things, and I think this is so important to remember that it's really the reason I think we do sports is we make up all these rules and we put a team on the other side of the net or court or someone we're competing against, and it's hard. Winning is hard. Being a great teammate is hard, especially when maybe things aren't going well for you as an individual. Perhaps you're not getting the playing time you think you deserve or you want. But college athletics is tough, and that's why we do it. It's not just for fun. It's not just to come in and practice for a couple hours and then leave. It's really about working hard and learning how to get better and grow. It's about persistence. It's about overcoming obstacles. That's what we want to accomplish here. So, and I think that's maybe the best lesson we can give to our student athletes is that you can do hard things, whether it's here, whether it's whatever is next after Cornell for those seniors who are going out into the real world. So maybe the most important one.
Absolutely. And so take me into 2 and 3
Yep.
as far as those three key themes of this year.
So the next one was better every day, and that's really the growth mindset piece of this. While you can't necessarily measure that, or you don't really know if you're getting better every day, I just talked to one of our men's tennis players earlier today, and just kind of talking about growth and how you don't necessarily notice it while you're doing it, but then maybe you can look back to the start of the season or where you were as a player before, and then you really see how far you come. As a coach, it's probably the most rewarding part of my job is to look at a senior who's graduating and moving on, and then thinking back to when they were a first year and maybe kind of nervous and unsure of themselves, and then they're going out into the real world as a confident young person. So just that idea that we're always striving to be better, to grow and to learn and to take that next step. So that's number 2, and then the last one I think is also critical to having a great experience in college athletics, but also to having a great outlook in life, and that's an attitude of gratitude. One of my favorite sayings is you can't be stressed and grateful at the same time. And so remembering about the opportunities that we have here at Cornell and how many people like yourself, Jack, go out of their way to make the student athlete experience special. We can't remind each other, we can't remind our student athletes of that enough, because it's easy sometimes to take opportunities for granted, or even and just the opportunity to compete, to play college sports is kind of a big deal. So being appreciative for the opportunities that we have, being grateful for the things we have, this beautiful building, that's a really important part of why we're here and what we do.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. Love those three themes. And now let's kind of get into the nitty gritty of this year. So we'll start way back in the fall, which feels like forever ago.
Or just yesterday.
Or just yesterday.
It.
Yeah, it really does. Time flies when you're having fun. So take us into your mindset about the fall sports here on the Hilltop. Had some memorable seasons, specifically men's cross country with a notable season. So take us inside of what you saw in the fall here on the Hilltop.
Yeah, again, just yesterday or forever ago, depending on your perspective of time. But the fall was good. For me, it's my busiest time of the year, and when it's most challenging to try and balance taking care of my team in terms of volleyball, and then really working hard with our bigger team. But I think a highlight for sure was the men's conference championship. As the volleyball coach, a highlight was seeing Claire Green earn Conference Player of the Year honors, which I thought was a very deserving honor for Claire. So she's someone who maybe works harder or as hard as any athlete I've ever coached. Mm-hmm. So that was a highlight in the fall for sure. But just being able to watch all of our teams compete. Football did good things this year too with some big wins. Our volleyball program performing well overall. But I think it was a solid start to the season or to the year. Soccer programs, of course, women's tennis, focusing their seasons in the fall, got us all going in the right direction.
For sure, and volleyball claimed its 12th consecutive regular season championship, aiming for lucky number 13 next year. We'll touch on that a little bit later in this podcast. And shout out to Claire Green. You mentioned the type of person who comes into the program day one and the growth that they undergo. Claire is certainly becoming the setter her freshman year, and just everything that she did in her career. So shout out to you, Claire, on a fantastic career here on the Hilltop. So the next part of the athletics campaign that I want to touch on is the winter athletics, and specifically basketball in there, along with wrestling, who had just a tremendous season in the winter time. So take us inside of what you saw in the wintertime, and specifically, I want to get your thoughts on seeing your son Jaden in his senior year on the Hilltop.
Yeah, well, some highlights from the winter. Our 1918 win over Co in wrestling. Got to be there for that and watch that, and the energy in the gym was pretty spectacular.
It was.
A last-second takedown in the last match, and then a win with criteria earned us that big win over Co. So that was pretty special. The coin flip for our women's basketball team.
Absolutely.
To win a spot in the conference tournament. We tied, of course, with Knox in the regular season standings, and then first time I've experienced that, I think, a coin flip to determine that final playoff spot. So that was super exciting to watch that and see the reaction of our women to have that opportunity to extend their season.
Absolutely.
That was a big deal. I don't know. You mentioned Jaden, in that last day of the season, as both a father and an athletic director, was awesome and awful all at the same time. We had a great game, played well. We needed a little help to get into the tournament. I think Beloit was beating Ripon by 16 or 18 points in the second half.
Yep.
And somehow Ripon found a way to claw back, and with that result, we didn't get into the tournament. So that was the end of our season, obviously the end of Jaden's career, which was sad that our team didn't get to play. And then as a dad, of course, it's like, oh crap, I'm not going to get to watch this going forward. So a roller coaster for sure.
As it always is. And I just wanted to shout out Aaron Knowles as well, Coach Brazzi, and Aaron Knowles' first year, just a fantastic year here on the Hilltop. All-region performer, newcomer of the year in the conference, and excited to see what she can do along with the Rams next year.
Hard to think of a first-year athlete who's been more impactful in recent years. players, to watch her do what she did on a consistent basis. And I got to see a lot of those games. Obviously, being there was so impressive. And then she's the type of kid you want to have on your team, someone who's confident but humble in her role, and someone who's as good a teammate as she is a player. So really a key piece for our women's basketball program to build around as they look to compete for a conference championship as well.
100%. And the next piece that I want to talk about is cross country also going into track and field, and the coaching staffs, which were honored by the Midwest Conference for their outstanding work this year. So I was wondering if you could talk about them and what they bring to the Hilltop.
Yeah, well, our Jerry are amazing, and the assistant coaches that help our track and cross country programs. They're two coaches who care about their kids. They're very knowledgeable, so they're able to put together great training plans and help our athletes continuously get better. Important in all sports, but certainly in track, when it's so measurable, you get to see the results of your work, and you put in the time and put the right training plan together, and you're able to measure that progress a little easier than you can perhaps in other sports. But they both do a great job of that, and just keeping things organized and going in the right direction. So awesome to see them rewarded with those recognitions. And certainly a highlight would be seeing our indoor track men's track and field team win the indoor conference championship. So first one since I was, I think, a senior in high school, which was only about 16 years ago or 36 years ago. And then as a dad, to get to watch Jensen anchor the 4x4 to earn us the points to get the victory. Probably a raving lunatic on the track watching that all transpire, but so cool for our team, and watching the team celebrate afterwards was pretty amazing.
Certainly was a magical moment. Now the final piece of the athletics campaign questionnaire that I have for you. So the next part, just going into the spring and what you've seen here most recently from our athletics teams as we put a bow on this 2024-25 season.
Yeah, I think one of the things we started with was we can do hard things, and part of that is that things don't always work out as you planned, especially in sports, because there's so much variability. Strange things happen, and the results aren't always what you wanted. And so, our baseball program worked really hard this year, but the outcomes didn't end up being what they were expecting or what they were hoping for. And those are hard but important lessons and things that student athletes, I hope, will take with them. You go out there and you dare to be remarkable. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. So our women's lacrosse team having the opportunity to host our first playoff game ever was certainly a big deal. And they played hard. The result wasn't quite what they wanted in that home contest, but it really represented our program well. And then we've got big games coming up this weekend with softball and baseball wrapping up. Our softball program still has a shot at conference tournament. We need to get a couple wins over Knox. We need Ripon to win twice over Cornell, and we need Beloit and Lawrence to split.
Yep.
And I think if that happens, we're in. So, we got to control what we can control, take care of business there, and then obviously looking forward to going up to Lawrence and watching our track teams compete at the conference tournament the next week.
So you just mentioned our track programs and competing at the Drake Relays in Des Moines last weekend, and a historic performance occurred, including your son in that relay team. So describe that moment, and I want you to touch on Coach Thumb, because there's an interesting story there that you shared on your Facebook that I think our podcast audience would love to hear.
Yeah, it's been a great spring and the winter time for our track athletes. Lots of school records. Jensen's been a part of a couple of those, and we have Obviously, B-Dub keeps breaking all the records, so it's been really fun to watch Isaac run and do what he does, along with some other outstanding performances. I thought at Drake, maybe the most impressive leg of a relay was Gabe Soda, and he was our opening leg in the distance medley, and the field had 19 runners. He was totally boxed in the first lap or two, and then somehow he got out of that. He was winning the darn race, and this was with in the college division, so a bunch of D2 programs, and then we have Cornell's Gabe Soda out in front of all of it. It was just beautiful. That group went on to break the school record as well. They ran sub 10, which was cool. 4x2 broke the record, and that record was established in 1986. And my former college cross country coach, Dave Thumb, who was a Mount Vernon High School legend and then an outstanding runner here at Cornell, was part of that record. He was also part of the 4x100 meter record that the guys broke maybe a week or two ago. So pretty special for me to see Jensen get to be a part of that. And Dave was someone that I think was just really instrumental in my desire to become a coach, because he helped us as high school kids learn to just believe we could be a little better than we thought possible. And so to see Jensen's name and his name in the same frame was pretty cool. And the other really neat part of that story, I think, is that Dave's nephew, Ryan Whitman, was the high school track coach at Mount Vernon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Coach Whitman was Jensen's coach and really helped develop Jensen as a runner. Jensen ends up here at Cornell and ends up breaking his uncle's, a couple of his uncle's records. So Dave would be really proud of that too. He, was someone who thought records were made to be broken. So
that's very special. Thanks for sharing that story. And one of the key hires here on the Hilltop this year, Kurt Ritchie, comes over after a tremendous run at Williamsburg High School to lead the football program starting in the fall of 2025 and beyond. It's been great to see Coach Ritchie around, just a wonderful guy. So I was wondering if you could speak on your experiences with him, what appealed to you so much during the hiring process, and what you're excited to see him do here with the football program.
Yeah, well, I think we're just incredibly fortunate to have Coach Ritchie on our team, and to have someone with his experience, his record, but more importantly, his character. I think as we went through the interview process, I learned that many of his beliefs in coaching and my beliefs in coaching were pretty closely aligned, and certainly centered on the student athlete experience and taking care of the kids that we have, and focusing on the process. That's all about doing the work you need to do to get to the next level. So I've already learned some things from Coach Ritchie. It's been just a pleasure to work with him this far, and I'm super excited about our football program, and I think we're going to be pretty good this fall.
Yeah, I could not agree with that more. I'm really excited to see what he can do. Just a special individual. So grateful that he's with us here on the Hilltop. So the next question that I have for you is a bit out of left field, but just asking you about the volleyball program and your expectations for next year. Okay. So in search of that magical number 13, though, I know, as you would say, we're just searching for this one season. Sure. No, past doesn't mean anything. But with a lot of fresh faces in the program next year, what are your expectations for Rams volleyball in 2025, and what should we expect as fans?
That's a great question, Jack. Obviously, I've thought a lot about that. We've kind of gone through our spring practices. We have our last practice tomorrow. We have some big shoes to fill. The second team All-American and Isla, our career leader in assists with Claire. This team has just worked they've worked their tails off this spring. They're very well connected. They're committed. They're eager. They love each other. They take care of each other. So I'm pretty excited. I think it's one of the best things about college athletics is every year is a new year. So somebody asked me if we were reloading, and we have a great 2025 class coming in. We're very excited about them too. Some talented players, some awesome people who I think fit what we're about. But more than reloading, we have this opportunity every year to recreate. And so we get to create a new personality, a new team culture, a new style of play perhaps, and try to figure out how we can be great. And I don't know if we will be or not. I'm excited about it. I think we have a chance to be very good. We'll be really tall, I can tell you that. We have a couple more tall players coming in, and with Tubbs and Olmsted, we're gonna have a big Division III volleyball team, which is kind of fun.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Can't wait to be inside the Small Athletic and Wellness Center and see you guys compete for the first time in the fall. So my next question to you is our last question for the podcast.
Sure.
So episode 43, it was a reverse podcast, and Nia Howard interviewed me. So one of the questions that she asked is a question that you ask frequently, and that is about superpowers. So if you had a superpower, what would it be? What is your superpower that you impart upon others? So since I got asked, it's only fair that I ask you.
Turnabout is fair play.
Exactly.
Huh?
So what is your answer to that question?
Well, first of all, that reverse podcast was a highlight of my year. And honestly, we were either starting practice or wrapping up practice. And that idea was just kind of an organic one that happened in the gym with the team. And I'm not even sure how, but we came up with the idea that, shoot, we need to have Jack be the episode of one of his own podcasts. So Nia was like, sign me up, and I thought she did a great job, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for agreeing to do that.
Of course, and thanks to you and Nia. That was a fantastic
brave
podcast.
Taking that chance. But really, I think it was just a way we wanted to say thanks for all you do for Cornell. So thanks for doing that.
Absolutely.
Superpowers, yeah. So I have there's a coach that I listen to quite a bit. I would consider him a mentor of mine, even though he doesn't know it. Just an old volleyball coach, and he brought this question up to someone he was talking about, and it was a high school baseball coach, and his superpower was, I can make high school boys do things that they otherwise wouldn't choose to do.
Okay.
And I'm able to convince them that they're maybe capable of doing things that they wouldn't have thought. And I think that's maybe one of my strengths, or maybe my superpower, if you will, is that I'm pretty good at helping 18 to 22-year-old volleyball players believe they can be better than they think. And I think that's been a key part of why we've been successful, is trying to help young people believe they can be better than they thought possible. To get them to maybe dream a little in terms of what they can accomplish, in terms of what our teams can accomplish. I think our program in large part has been built upon players who maybe didn't have the most spectacular high school careers, or players who came here with maybe were overlooked just a little bit, and then what we're trying to do is get the most we can out of those individual players, and then figure out that synergistic effect of how, when all the pieces go together in the right way, the product is greater than the sum of its parts. So I think that would be it.
Yeah. You can do hard things. It all ties back to one of the main themes of this podcast and one of the main themes of this athletics year. So I wanted to thank you for your time on this episode, Coach, and looking forward to being back with the Ramley next year and seeing what you and the volleyball team can do in addition to the rest of the Rams. So thanks for doing this, and have a great summer.
Do you have any more eligibility?
I have 1.5 semester left of academia, and then I will be a college graduate. So
we need to figure out how to get you that COVID year, or
NIL deal?
NIL
The
deal.
collective?
We'll work on that
Okay.
for sure. Yes.
Okay, sounds good. I'll look forward to those conversations. Jeff, Meeker, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode and every episode all year long. It has been my pleasure to highlight the stories of Cornell Rams athletics that otherwise would not be told here on the Hilltop Sports Report. So thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned to the Cornell Rams social media platforms. We'll be back with you next year, 2025-2026 athletics campaign. I'm Jumpin' Jack Carlson, thanking you so much for watching, saying, I'll see you next year.
Let's go Rams! Let's go Rams!